we have to learn to be able to rely on just God at times in our life. And unfortunately, too often we mix that up with comfort and with other things. And we have people in our lives. And I'm not saying that's bad per se. I'm only saying that in certain times and certain seasons, and maybe for certain calls that God has on certain people's lives, we end up having to cut people out. Whether we cut them out or whether they get cut out or whether they die or whether just things happen and people that were in our lives and were a huge part of our lives no longer are. And then maybe the hope is that in that space, God will fill that up and we'll get more of him, and he's using it to move us into something else. Maybe he's using it to say, hey, I'm enough for you in this season right now. Welcome, everyone, to Beers with Jesus, Todd's World. Carrie's with me. I'm Todd. Welcome. Thanks for coming. How's it going, Carrie?
Fantastic. How about you?
We do this every week. Beers with Jesus, anyway. The Wildly Opinionated News Hour is another podcast we do. We do that one every other week, and this is not our week on. That said, if you haven't ever listened, you should go give it a try. Last week's was fabulous. I think the title is something along the lines of the WNBA not just for black lesbians anymore.
And there have been more developments in that. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's the story that keeps on giving right there.
I can't believe you titled it that.
It's so great.
This is the only place I promo the show.
There was a lot of people that liked that on TikTok. I mean, for me, lately, because I had one that went we had one way back in 2023 that went almost 750,000, and we started to gain a bunch of stuff, and then they just shut us down. And since then, it hasn't been
they really did
as much. But this one got 5,000 views, a little over, which that's a lot for me anymore.
It's cool.
Generally, they don't. And then for some reason, these Beers with Jesus clips that I try to put on TikTok, they don't do a whole lot. People on TikTok don't care about Jesus. I don't think that can be true, though, because I see stuff.
I know. I see stuff, too.
Know.
Okay.
I don't know.
We'll
figure it out.
I'm not drinking beer, though. I'm still doing the coffee thing. How about you?
I'm still on coffee this morning, too.
Yeah.
So
late night.
I had a late night, too. I didn't do anything like you did. You partied all night, but I did not. Carrie was doing 8 balls and stuff, but I was not. I'm not.
What?
I was just studying my Bible.
Okay, wait. This is so inaccurate. I must speak up in my own defense. No, I actually didn't party late, but I was just up late. And I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old or something because
Didn't you go see that band that started at 10?
Saw the band
10 to 1?
10. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't stay till the end.
Yeah.
But it's so loud. I love it. But it's so loud that I feel like the volume and the yelling to your friends to talk, and I feel like it wears on you. I wake up in the morning, I feel like I got beat up a little bit. That's what I felt like, and I was like,
maybe more went on than you know.
There was that blackout period. No, it actually was. I wasn't partying there because I had already had drinks
beers
with
with
dinner
Jesus in the morning.
I know. I had to get up, but it's man, I just can't. The thought of a beer right now is not appealing. So coffee it is.
Coffee it is. All right,
Cheers.
guys. Cheers. How about Carrie's reading today, I think.
Okay.
Right? And we are in Genesis 13.
Okay.
What we do on this show, we just go through the stories of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
And we go through, we pick a book. The first book we did was Mark, and we just walk through the kind of chapter by chapter or whatever, however it makes sense. We use the Message. I happen to like the Message translation better than any others. I read it all the time, and I think I just like the narrative flow of it, and it works for what we do because we like to focus on the story. So if you want to dig into Catholic or Protestant theology and you feel like you need a different Bible, well, you can go knock yourself out. But we're just exploring the stories.
Right. And it's the same story. It's the same story.
It is the same story. So anyway, we're in the story of Abram right now. And we thought that everybody, I thought everybody was on the page that Abraham was real, but then I saw something flash through my,
wait,
it wasn't
what?
a comment. It was like a post I saw.
Okay.
And you know how the algorithms are all over. And obviously, I'm studying Abram. It's whatever.
Okay.
But I get a post that talks about how even Abraham wasn't real. Nobody ever knew about Abraham. Nobody ever knew this. And I thought, oh my God, I never heard this. What is going on? How
Yeah.
come when I say Abram's real, the whole world is like, no, no, no?
Todd, you're just getting a taste of, the disagreeable. You're on the other end of the disagreeable. But yeah, no, I've never heard anyone claim that Abraham wasn't real.
I haven't either. Craziness. Crazy
It is.
talk out
It is
there.
crazy.
Everybody wants to have some unique take.
They're
They're
not
like, oh,
shutting
this
those
will break
TikToks
through.
down.
This will make me viral. They don't ever think, well, what are you going to do when you're viral when you have no talent? Like, what are you supposed to do?
You're
Like to
lashing
talk
out.
to a girl. All of a sudden, you got a podcast, and oh my God, you got nothing to say. It's
Right.
crazy.
I was going to say, she isn't still going, is she?
I don't think so, but that's my point. Like,
Yeah.
celebrity and fame are like in our culture and society. Don't you feel like fame and celebrity? It's starting to be emptied of a lot of the mystique it used to have when we were growing up.
Sure.
Because it's just so people
Because of
become famous for nothing, and then you find they're nothing.
Right.
You're like,
Well,
oh,
it's the constant online presence, like the access and everything, I think has removed some of that.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, look at us.
I'm
We're
back
regular
to my
people.
lawn chair.
You are.
Yelling at cars.
Slow down.
So anyway, we're in Genesis. We're going through, we went through the creation. We went through the fall. We went through the flood, the Nephilim, all the stuff. Now we're in Abram, and we're in chapter 13 this week.
Yeah.
So I think we just started with Abram last week, and Abram will soon become Abraham. So if you hear me occasionally mix it up or Carrie mix it up, that's why. It's because eventually the next probably 10 chapters, God will change his name. And then for the rest of the entire Bible, everybody calls him Abraham. So that's how we think of him. But right now, he's still Abram. So Carrie's reading for us today.
All right, chapter 13. So Abram left Egypt and went back to the Negev, he and his wife and everything he owned, and Lot still with him. By now, Abram was very rich, loaded with cattle and silver and gold. He moved on from the Negev, camping along the way to Bethel, the place he had first set up his tent between Bethel and Ai, and built his first altar. Abram prayed there to God. Lot, who was traveling with Abram, was also rich in sheep and cattle and tents, but the land couldn't support both of them. They had too many possessions. They couldn't both live there. Quarrels broke out between Abram's shepherds and Lot's shepherds. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living on the land at the time. Abram said to Lot, "Let's not have fighting between us, between your shepherds and my shepherds. After all, we're family. Look around. Isn't there plenty of land out there? Let's separate. If you go left, I'll go right. If you go right, I'll go left." Lot looked. He saw the whole plain of the Jordan spread out, well watered. This was before God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. Like God's garden, like Egypt, and stretching all the way to Zoar. Is that how you say that?
Yep.
Lot took the whole plain.
That's how I say it. That doesn't mean anything.
That's all right. Following your lead.
Except it's Todd's world, so whatever.
That's right. That's how we pronounce it here. Lot took the whole plain of the Jordan. Lot set out to the east. That's how they came to part company, uncle and nephew. Abram settled in Canaan. Lot settled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent near Sodom. The people of Sodom were evil, flagrant sinners against God. After Lot separated from him, God said to Abram, "Open your eyes, look around. Look north, south, east, and west. Everything you see, the whole land spread out before you, I will give to you and your children forever. I'll make your descendants like dust. Counting your descendants will be as impossible as counting the dust of the earth. So on your feet, get moving. Walk through the country, its length and breadth. I'm giving it all to you." Abram moved his tent. He went and settled by the oaks of Mamre in Hebron. There he built an altar to God.
Nice job, Carrie.
Oh, thanks.
What a fabulous job you did.
Quit teasing me.
No, you did. You got a great radio voice. I think that when I listen to the show every week. And you know why? It's
That's so
because
funny.
for whatever reason, this platform we use,
Mhm.
frequently it's not very good, um, like quality.
Mhm.
Like your sound comes in strange. Could be maybe I think I need new headphones. But anyway, I
Oh,
don't
yeah,
know
I
what it
think
is.
you do.
But once I listen to it after it's all downloaded and touched up, it sounds
Mhm.
beautiful. I
There we
think
go.
Carrie has the best radio voice. Look at her go.
Oh my gosh. This is a
So
whole new era. Okay.
So Abram and Lot are both they're both raking it in. God's blessing them
Mhm.
as they move along. They moved to Egypt, and even while things were going on with Sarah, she was at the Pharaoh's house, and
Mhm.
Abraham had to deal with all that. He's God's blessing him. He's getting wealthy along the way
Mhm.
as he's following God, and maybe because of his proximity to Abram or relationship or whatever, Lot
Mhm.
is as well. Lot's his nephew,
I don't think I
and
knew that ever.
oh, didn't you?
I don't believe so. When I've heard the
Lot.
story of Lot and his
Well,
wife later, I don't
yep,
think I
that'll
knew.
happen later.
Mhm. I don't think I knew that he was Abram's nephew.
In chapter 11, toward the end, it gives a family tree of Terah, which is Abraham's father, and it
Mhm.
says this is the story of Terah. Terah had Abram, Nahor, and Haran.
Mhm.
Haran had Lot. Haran died before his father Terah in the Ur
Mhm.
of the Chaldees. So, um, it says that Terah took Abram, his grandson Lot, and Sarai, his daughter-in-law, and then they set out. They got as far
Mhm.
as Haran and settled down. And then so when Abraham left, just as God said, and Lot left with him. So Lot is kind of going along with Abram on
Mhm.
this journey. Like Abram's father was before. What's interesting about that, what I thought was kind of interesting is
Mhm.
if you look at God's initial call to Abram, what he says is, leave your country. So that's the Ur of the Chaldees for a
Okay.
land that I'll show you. We see that. Check, right?
Yep. He did
Does
it.
that.
He did it.
Then he says, leave your family, your father's home for a land that I will show you. So I think we can say, check, we left the father's home,
Mhm.
kinda. But on the leave your family part, it seems like Abraham kind of brought the family along for a while.
Well, do you think that God meant for him he didn't mean for him to leave Sarah behind? And
Not Sarah, no, I don't think so.
okay.
I think but I do
What?
think that maybe well, what it seems like is Abraham brings Terah with him and eventually in Lot,
Mhm.
and then they
Mhm.
settle in Haran, and that kind of maybe holds things up for a while
Okay.
until Terah dies. And then God, as soon as Terah dies, God kind of comes back to Abraham and reissues, I think, this call to
Okay.
Abraham and kind of expands it a little bit. And Abraham leaves, follows God's voice, leaves, and
Mhm.
brings Lot with him. Now, did God mean for him to bring Lot with him? Did he not? Well, I don't know. For a period of years, Lot's there. They're both getting wealthier. But it does seem like we come to this point now, and God is kind of pruning that relationship.
Mm.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
good yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
And I wonder if there's something to that because when it had said so Abraham left Egypt and he went
Mhm.
back to the Negev, which is kind of in the south. He and his wife and everything he owned and Lot with him. By now he was really rich and the whole thing.
Mhm.
So he moves on, he goes back to Bethel to where he had first kind of set up his tent and his altar in the land of Canaan. So I kind of feel like, he kind of did this detour. He went south and he went up to Egypt during the famine and then everything with the Pharaoh and Sarah and everything that happened there. And he comes back and and he goes back to that original altar. And I feel like he's looking almost for like a reset with God, like
Mhm.
almost for let's kind of I need to hear from you again. And what makes me think that is that it says he he prayed there to God. So it's where he built his first altar. He circles all the way back, and then he prays to God there. What does that mean? We expected Abraham's probably praying to God a fair amount.
Right.
So, but there's something unique about this. He's seeking God in a certain way. What was interesting to me is that right after that, it starts going into the Lot thing
Okay.
and how they both have so much They couldn't be together. They had, too many sheep, the land wouldn't
Mhm.
support them both, whatever. And so Abraham looks out and he lets Lot choose. Lot chooses what looks like the best land. And then Abram takes the hill country.
Mhm.
And then when it says in chapter 14, after Lot separated from him, God said to Abraham. God then reaffirms, it widens out, expands this promise and this call to Abraham even more, but it's after Lot leaves. It's after he's separated from Lot. It's what makes me think God's going through a process with Abram of kind of emptying him and pruning him of some of these former,
Mm.
like God's like, I'm going to make a family out of you, but it's not, it's just out of you, your immediate family. It's going to be a new family.
Right.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't drag the old family around, meaning not his kid and wife. That's not what I mean.
Right. Extended family.
That chick in Massachusetts.
So, okay, this is interesting because I was just talking with a friend who's getting ready to move out of state,
Okay.
and we were talking about how you can try to make plans. We were talking about people we know who try to make plans,
Mhm.
and for whatever reason, the plans nothing falls into place. Nothing's going smoothly. You have in your head how it's gonna go.
Sometimes the whole life is a dirt road.
Yeah. And then something changes, and I'm just thinking of this separation here, and all
Mhm.
of a sudden, God's like, "All right, that's the green light." Whether he makes it happen or we make decisions that are finally in alignment with his plan, that's when everything, like, starts to not necessarily be easy, but the movement happens the way it's supposed to. Am I
Yeah.
making sense?
Yeah. So it seems to be a struggle, and that's kind of what
Yeah.
Abram has found.
Mhm.
He gets there. There's this famine. He
Mhm.
goes to Egypt. He has all this kerfuffle with Pharaoh taking Sarah's wife, and
Right.
him saying she's his sister, and this whole thing, and it
Mhm.
turns into whatever. And yeah, and then once he separates from Lot, he hears from God again. He kind of
Mhm.
he sees God in that fresh way that he's seeking him is what it feels like to me. Like
Mhm.
he's like, I got here. I'm still looking for this land that you're supposed to show me.
Okay.
You know what
Right.
I mean? And it
Right.
did make me wonder if i- if yeah, if we have to just if there's certain things God calls us to and they're hard on the front end. In fact, we might hear it a certain way. We might think he must not have meant that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because that doesn't seem like what God would say. Like, that's not, again, we talk a lot on this program about God and the boxes that we try to put him in,
Mhm.
which I think is a lot of the struggle that whether it's organized religion, whether it's
Mhm.
Christians, whether it's Christian leaders, whatever it is that we run into is we've got God boxed up, and then all of a sudden something will happen
Mhm.
and it's not easily plunked down in a box. We're like, wait a tick. Something about this is disconcerting because
Mhm.
God's operating in a way I didn't expect.
Mhm.
And I was pretty sure I had him nailed down.
Right, I was pretty sure I had him in the box.
I thought he was a
Yeah.
good God. He was going to do what I needed and
Do what I wanted.
right. we like we want to kind of narrow him up and God's like, wait,
Mhm.
but it seems like God said, no, I said, leave your family. Maybe there was more to that than Abraham realized. Abraham thought, well, if I'm following you and I'm bringing my family, I left some of my family. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it does seem like God, and I think we see that at times in our own lives where, yeah, sometimes there's separations that take place. Sometimes they're different. Often, usually they're difficult. Usually separations and partings are difficult.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, what that could be a lot of different things. Could be
Right, and
that both my parents, but I had parents die relatively young, although I was
mhm.
just doing some work for an older guy or couple, and he was
Yeah.
telling me how his mom died when he was 7, his dad died when he was 15 or something, and I was like,
Oof.
"Geez, I thought my parents were young."
Right? My
But
gosh. Um, but
there's
I was
times I
yeah.
wonder, could I have know what is there a point to which I couldn't have done what I've done or moved in the direction that I moved eventually to God had
Mhm.
my parents been here? I wonder that sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Was there a
Yes.
parting? Was there a reason for that pruning? And I don't get it all. Probably won't get it all until we're on
Mhm.
the other side.
Right.
But is there a point to it where no, you got to learn to you? We have to learn to be able to rely on just God at times in our life, and unfortunately, too often we mix that up with comfort and with other things, and we have people in our lives. And I'm not saying that's bad per se. I'm only saying that in
Right.
certain times and certain seasons, and maybe for certain calls that God has on certain people's lives, we end up having to cut people out,
Right.
or
'Cause it's
whether
not
we cut
about
them out, or whether
comfort.
they get cut out, or whether they die, or whether just things happen, and
Mhm.
people that were in our lives and were a huge part of our lives no longer are. And
Right.
then maybe the hope is that in that space, God will fill that up, and we'll get more of Him in it, and then He's using it
Mhm.
to move us into something else. Maybe He's using it to say, "Hey, I'm enough for you in this season right now." And sometimes
Mhm.
for us, now for Lot, it didn't exactly work out this way with Abram, but sometimes for us, people come along, they'll come back in other seasons. You know what I mean? They'll just
Mhm.
be this, but there's different seasons in our lives where people kind of come and go. What do you think?
Well, I agree with you what you're saying, like, in our lives, but I'm looking here at Abram and thinking, he doesn't strike me as a disobedient, I mean, I feel like he's
No.
faithful, I feel like he has the spirit of obedience, so, you know, taking Lot along might have been a little, you know, little unnecessary, but I don't feel like he was being defiant.
Oh, I
That's
don't think
I
that
don't think
at
he's
all.
presented that way.
But isn't it just
And
part of
he's
his
being
growth?
right, I was gonna say, and he's being blessed along the way, but then there's conflict, and he even finds a peaceful way to solve it, like, "Hey, let's not live
Yeah,
like this, let's spread out a bit." Um, but then, like you said, then God reveals the next stage, and I think, well,
yeah.
maybe it's just we're just watching the process because everything is, we say it all the time. We want God to just kinda snap his fingers and fix things for us that we feel have he's promised us. And here we have one of the biggest figures in the Old Testament, and it's like it's just a lifelong process, just like all of us. Like I
I
just
think
feel
you're
like
right.
he's very relatable here in this context we're talking about.
I agree.
We're
And
watching
like
him do
I
some
don't
things
know
right, maybe some things wrong. He's
when
trying to
I'm saying
listen.
that, I don't
Mhm,
necessarily I'm not thinking of it like I don't really think it's like disobedience per se.
mhm,
I think maybe we don't, well, not maybe. Frequently,
mhm,
maybe all the time we get a glimpse of the call that God has for us,
mhm.
but we don't really understand it. Like we understand
Sure.
parts of it, and
Mhm,
and so Abraham or Abram moves into what into what he can see of it.
mhm. Sure.
And but what you're calling just the process, which is what I think it is the growth, but
Mhm.
that growth sometimes comes with relationships and things being broken off and left behind the way because for whatever
Sure.
reason, and we may not know why. We sometimes the times that God comes to us and he kind of reaffirms everything for us and even widens out our call, oftentimes those that happens in periods of loss, in periods of pain, in
Mhm.
periods of brokenness. Is that fair maybe?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it's when I mean, we grow through success and achievement and all that, but yeah, but of course we grow. If you look for it, if you look for what lesson can I learn from this challenge, I'm
Yeah.
facing or I'm being crushed by, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you look at it that way, I think you do the most growth during that. So,
Yeah, and that's when God shows up.
mhm,
But there's
absolutely.
that old
Especially if you're
idea,
seeking, especially if you're
right?
seeking. Mhm,
And there's that old idea of C.S. Lewis says God has something to give us, but our hands are full.
mhm.
And out of love, in grace, he empties them so that we can receive what he has. But that doesn't feel like love and grace, that emptying to us. Does that
No.
make sense?
Oh, yeah,
And uh,
absolutely.
So I think that's a big part of this passage.
Mhm.
Let's take a quick break. Warm up coffee. Want to do that, and
Okay,
then we'll get right
sure.
back.
Okay.
All right, we're back with a coffee warm up. By the way, guys, if you're a listener of Beers with Jesus, you're one of our regular listeners, regular fans. Last week I somehow forgot. I meant to edit out that like we had a glitch, like a tech glitch, and I just forgot to edit it out.
Oh my gosh, was it all in there?
It wasn't that bad. It was just one little spot where I couldn't hear you for a minute, and
Oh, yeah, did my camera shut off and
it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't know. I wasn't watching the video, but it was anyway. I
Whoops.
apologize, guys. I forgot that happened during the episode, and
We resolved it quickly. I forgot all about that
yeah,
too.
it wasn't that big a deal. But
Okay.
I like to be a little more professional, even though I'm not ever.
Some days we don't fake it as well as others.
But we're authentic, guys. That's what matters. And in this day and age,
True.
that is a rare commodity.
Yep. I'm here for that.
I think you could say Todd's World is peak authenticity. We are the
I like
we are
that.
the
Can you
light
put that
shining against the AI bullshit out there in the world.
peak authenticity? Can you put that in like your
Yeah,
a
I'm maybe a
tagline or
shirt.
something?
I need to do a new shirt. Maybe peak authenticity is the new shirt. What do you think?
Yes. I like it. I'm writing
Like a
it
little
down.
mountain peak in the back.
I'm writing it down.
Okay, Carrie's writing
Okay.
it down. We're good, guys. This idea will not be lost in the ether.
No, it's just going to be lost on a scrap of paper on my desk.
It'll still be lost. Just will be written down somewhere.
That's funny.
Okay. The other thing I wondered, what do you think about
Mhm.
just the way the whole like the Lot Abram gives him a choice, Lot looks and it, I mean, it did seem like Lot was like, it'd be like if there was maybe an okay car, like a real great truck in the driveway, and then like a brand new Corvette.
Mhm.
Like, oh, well, of course I'm taking the Corvette.
Okay,
Doesn't it kind of seem like that with Lot?
I was gonna ask you if I interpreted that
I don't
correctly.
know. I mean, that's the way it comes off.
I mean, it just seems like hold on, let me go back to
It seems like he was real focused, like on what he like saw, like he saw the land, and there was almost like a lust to the eyes. Maybe that's a little much, and it's hard to know because if you know anything about the Bible, you know what's coming with Lot. And
Mhm.
so it's hard to divorce yourself from that and just look at Lot right now. But knowing
Sure.
all that comes, it seems like Lot's one who is fascinated by the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, by their wealth, maybe the big city lights. He
Mhm.
ends up, when the Sodom and Gomorrah story actually happens, he's one of the elders at the gate, so he's a respected person. He goes from here, it says that he lived near, says Lot settled in the cities of the plain and pitched his tent near Sodom. Then we're going to find a couple chapters later he's living in Sodom. Then we're going to find
Mhm.
he's one of the guys at the gate, one of the respected leaders of Sodom.
Okay.
And so there seems to be something about that life that Lot was really into, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, they didn't even want to leave when angels were trying to pull him out, which is, spoiler alert, coming, I
Oh.
think, chapter 19. So
Oh, yeah,
where
yeah,
Lot's
okay.
wife looks back and,
Wait, is that coming up? Is that in Genesis also?
yes.
Man, Genesis, action-packed. I know, I'm
I
seeing
told
it
you,
every
it's
week, but it's like,
fabulous.
it's everything. Okay, Todd, you've just reminded me of something else here that's cool, and that is that it doesn't matter. Like, so Lot looked out, saw something that, was well-watered, it looked like
Yeah.
lush, successful, developed,
Looked
and
like
all
the
that.
Garden of God, the Garden of
Right.
Eden.
He was super excited about it. He claimed that. That's where I'm going.
Yep.
And God, like without any fanfare or anything like that, thank you. Without anything, he just says, kind of like it reminded me of I'm not I'm not trying to minimize the Bible, but it reminded me of the Lion King scene
Okay.
where Mufasa has his little boy Simba with him, and he says like all of that, like
Yeah.
as far as
Where
I
they're
can
up on
see.
that, like,
Yes.
promontory or
Well, it
whatever.
reminded me of that, but God just so calmly was like, "All right, Lot's gone. Abram, look around, open your eyes, look around." He's like, and he tells him to look in every direction.
Yeah.
and he says, the whole land spread out before you, I will give you and your children forever.
Right.
It doesn't matter what Lot chooses. It to him
Right.
looks like the best, but God can always give more.
Yeah.
And it's obviously what he's promising Abram is more than just the material land also. So it dwarfs whatever Lot picked.
Maybe this tells us that with God, it's far less about picking the right thing or not picking the right thing or whatever. And it does seem like that seems to be kind of a juxtaposition where you've got Lot who's captivated by certain things in the land. I don't think I get the impression, even if Abraham had just picked, I don't know that he'd have picked that. You know what I mean? I feel like
No, it
Abraham's
doesn't
more
seem
about following God in the hill country, and maybe there's some struggle in the hill country, but that's where he's found God, is in the struggle. And and
I
I
feel
don't think there's anything about Sodom and the cities and any of
like
that appeals to Abram even a little.
no, I
You
think if
know?
anything, Abram would have, if it had been up to him, he just would have built an altar, and he would have prayed and said, "Where do you want me to go?"
Right.
Whereas Lot is like scoping out
And
what's appealing to the
that was
eye.
his way by offering Lot
Sure.
the decision. He thought, I'll just leave it up to Lot. That's leaving it up to God. God will make
Mm-hmm.
God will work it out either way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not, I wish and my guess is that this isn't, if you think about these kinds of decisions in life,
Mm-hmm.
this wouldn't be a decision that was just like one morning Abram got up and thought, oh, we got to do this. Like, he probably struggled with it a little bit. There was
Mm-hmm.
probably multiple quarrels and different
Right.
situations with shepherds, and there's this conflict they're dealing with. And Abraham probably thought, I guess we're going to have to separate. And I think there was probably pain in that for Abraham. He doesn't have a son at this point.
Right.
I think
Right.
we're
Lot might
left
have
to maybe
seemed like
think that Lot was maybe a little bit like a son to him.
a
Abraham does
sun
go in and
figure.
rescue him, and there are some things. Now Abraham, they're not. He doesn't cut off communication with Lot for forever, but they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to live together anymore.
They're not going to be working
They're
their
not both
land together.
living working in
Mm-hmm.
West Michigan all the time and seeing each other at church and everything. You know what I mean? It's a different
Right.
thing. So
I think this also speaks to Abram's just peaceful character.
yeah,
He's letting Lot choose. It's almost like a gesture of go ahead, just to kind of foster that peace that he's trying to
right,
rebuild with him.
yeah. And do you think that there's how would or what would it be the lesson for us in that? You know
Mm.
what I mean?
Oh, sure. I mean,
Is the lesson, don't always, if the two are set up, don't be the one who's always running and grasping for
yeah,
everything shiny and new that looks like the best.
right.
Is that part of it? I don't know.
I mean, it could be for sure. I think choosing peace over acquisition, I
Yeah,
guess.
well,
Yeah.
that
I
could be.
mean, because today, like if we were quarreling with someone we cared about, um, I think just we're so prideful, and I think that it's easy to want to be right. It's not a perfect analogy to Abram and
Right.
Lot, but I just mean choosing. I think there's a good lesson here in just choosing peace. It's like, what are we fighting for?
Yeah.
Let's be
Maybe
adults. And
sometimes I know I do in certain things.
what's that?
Sometimes we hold on too long and too tight.
I thought you were going to tell me you always choose peace, Todd.
No, but sometimes we're so
Yeah.
convinced that without this person, without this
Mhm.
relationship, it could be without a thing. It could be without a house, without a car, it could be without a job, it could be without a lot of
Yes,
things.
you're
But we're
right.
convinced that without this thing, this
Mhm.
person, this whatever, this is what we've known. We don't know what life's going to look like on the other side, and so we
Mhm.
hold on too long and too tight to things
Sure.
that God is just he's kind of prying our hands. I think that Corrie ten Boom uh, thing we talked about last week, which I did
Yeah.
finally find the actual thing for. I
Oh, is
can't
this
remember where it was.
the interview you were looking for?
Yes. I did
Did
finally find
did I
that.
end up did I help you find it with that suggestion?
You know what found it is I take our transcripts after we do it and I run them through Grok and just
Mhm.
ask for any little. What I'm actually asking for is I ask it to suggest the best like clip for that little cold
Mhm.
open clip I do at the front end.
Yep.
Um, so and the reason I use AI is because I'm swimming in an AI algorithm. So I just figure it knows more than I do what these other AI things want.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, I wanted to see if I could if it was a little different. Her quote to was it Chuck Swindoll, I think is what it was
Mhm.
about. And I want to see if it's in here because what Grok did after I gave it the transcript is it found that thing in it, and there was a couple things that we had maybe left hanging because we didn't know the answers to or we couldn't find or whatever.
Okay.
And Grok answered them in the
Oh.
it found it for me. And so
Oh, that's cool.
it gave me that Corrie ten Boom thing.
Thank you,
Where is
Grok.
that? And I wanted to here it is.
Mhm.
And this is what she actually said. See, it says Swindoll recounts meeting Corrie ten Boom shortly before her death after a service. She cupped her hands, then opened them, and said something to this effect with her Dutch accent. Pastor Swindoll, you must learn to hold everything loosely. Everything. Even your dear family. Why?
Mm.
Because the Father may wish to take one of them back to himself, and when he does, it will hurt you if he must pry your fingers loose. Remember, hold everything loosely, everything. So that was the Corrie ten Boom quote that we were
Wow.
trying for last week.
Todd, I think that is a taller order than forgiveness. I used to think forgiveness was the tallest order,
You think holding
in
things,
in
learning to hold
Christian
things
faith.
loosely is a
Yeah,
taller order?
I think so. Not material things, but people you care about.
Well, everything, yeah, your
Right.
family,
Mhm.
your relationships, your friends,
Mhm.
your job, your wealth, any kind of
Sure.
accumulations, homes, any of that.
Sure.
We hold on tight to all of it
Yes,
because
we do.
we feel like it's the things that root us, and in a way it's everything that roots us to this world.
It is.
And the whole
You're
time Jesus
right.
is like, you don't understand, you were made for a different one. I got you.
You're like,
I
"Damn
gotta
it."
uproot some of these things so
Right.
that I could replant you where you were made to be.
But while we're here,
And all the
it's such a
things,
it's such a challenge to
yeah.
to remember that it's temporary.
It's
All
a
this stuff
challenge
is
for us
temporary.
to believe God when he says on the other side of this, you'll get all this back and more. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But the front end is pick up your cross and follow me.
Yeah.
The front end is separation. The front end is difficulty. The front end is loss and grief. And it's through that we grow into the perfection that God has for us. That makes sense?
Yeah. I think it's a tall order.
It is. And even for Abraham, it was a tall order.
Mhm.
So if Abraham is hauling a lot around, maybe longer than he should have, that wouldn't make Abraham any different than us. That have a few things
Right.
that we're hauling around, maybe their relationship, maybe it's
Yeah.
a job, maybe it's who knows, maybe it's a
Mhm.
dream that we're just hauling around because we're just not ready to quite hold that one loosely enough to let it go. you
Mhm.
know,
Right.
it takes some time sometimes. It took time even for Abram. So
Do you think do you think it would be a fruitful exercise to write down the things in our lives that we kinda know? 'Cause, if you're honest with yourself, you kinda
yeah,
know there's stuff you're hanging on to. Think it would be
I'm sure it would be.
fruitful exercise to write those things down, kinda
Yeah. For someone like me, it would feel
look
entirely too close to a workbook, but I do things like that in my
a
journaling and
workbook? Did you
things.
say
Yeah.
workbook? I know, I'm sorry. I don't wanna be, but I am kind of a
Gary just
workbook
goes
girl.
back to what?
I mean, I'm not
Can we
saying
have an outline?
my apologies. But
No,
yeah,
no,
it'd be
I think that
something,
would be
wouldn't
good.
it?
I do that at times, but
Do
that would be
you?
more journaling for me would be kind of
Okay,
how I would.
yeah, and I'm thinking of that. I'm thinking,
I
like,
don't
to
journal when
journal
I
those
journal. I
things.
don't journal like every single day. I just I
Mhm.
write when I want to.
Right.
Just to have more to have, like to have a collection of, okay, I've got all these Bibles that are filled up with notes and writings and
Yeah.
things from every day, and then I got all these journals. And someday, it's hard to imagine if you looked at how my kids are right now, but someday maybe they'll care. Or grandkids or something. Maybe my kids
Oh,
never will.
boy.
I am starting to
Yeah.
think my kids never will, but maybe a grandkid or two might.
But you're like, "What was grandpa like?" They'll be like, "I don't know, there's a stack of journals
I
there.
don't
Knock
know.
yourself out." He
He
was
was a lot.
disagreeable, but we
He
loved
was
him.
exhausting.
He was exhausted. Oh, no.
I don't know. So the other thing
Mhm.
in this that I was the only the kind of the last thing I was thinking of
Yeah.
was just where it says where not only does God expand the promise, open your eyes. So God, after
Mhm.
Lot separated from him, God said to
I
Abram,
know.
open your eyes, look around, look north, south, east, west. Just like Carrie said, this separation in the end meant almost nothing to Abraham.
Right?
Like he's getting all of it anyway,
Mhm.
or his
Exactly.
descendants are. I will give to you everything you see, the whole land spread out before you. I will give to you and your children forever. I'll make your descendants like dust. Counting your descendants will be as impossible as counting the dust of the earth. So he expands that promise he originally gave him. And then I love this at the end. So on your feet, get moving, walk through the country, its length and breadth. I'm giving it all to you. Abraham moved his tent. He went and settled by the oaks of Mamre and Hebron. There he built an altar to God. There's something about, I think, about actually walking into the promise I think that God has
Mm.
for us.
Ooh, I
You know
like
what I
that
mean?
perspective. Mhm.
Sometimes God's promises can feel so massive in their tone and in
Right.
everything. And so God's promising them all this. It could make you feel like, well, what do I do now? And God's just like, go live it. You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Mhm.
Like, just go explore my gift and my promise to you. Enjoy it. Become the blessing that I'm telling you you are right now.
Mhm.
Like, just go out and explore it and live in it. And you know what I mean? That seems to me,
Yeah.
I think sometimes we can get stuck a little and God's like, no, like we talked about last week, just keep moving. That's really the biggest thing. Like,
Mhm.
go out and explore everything I'm telling you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
If you're Peter and you feel and you see Jesus walking on the water, you want to walk on the water, jump out of the boat and go. If he
Right.
calls to you,
Mhm.
if he doesn't, I mean, he'll probably rescue you, but I don't
What are you doing?
know.
No,
Dude, there's
you're
a
right
boat
though.
for a reason.
Quit trying to one up Jesus. You know, it's kind of like saying thank you. It's like living as though the promise has already been fulfilled. We've talked about that
Yeah,
as
I
well.
like that.
And like you're saying, he's saying just walk into it. Walk into the promise. It's and you've noticed this many times before in readings that it's those steps that we take that end up opening up God's plan.
Oh, yeah.
You're not supposed to just sit and wait for it to happen. You have to do something, so yeah, so
It's kind of
walking
what faith
into
is. What he's
Mhm,
describing when he says go out and explore it, walk into it, like
mhm,
live it. That's faith because in Hebrews 11 is the very first verse, the fundamental fact of existence is that this trust in God, this faith is the firm foundation under everything that makes life worth living. It's our handle on what we can't see.
mm,
The act of faith is what distinguished our ancestors and set them above the crowd. And and one of those is Abram or Abraham. That's what it says in it, but same guy.
so it's the handle, you said? It's the
Yeah.
handle?
By an act of faith, Abraham
Mhm,
said yes to God's call to travel to an unknown place that would become his home. When he left, he had no idea where he was going. By an act of faith, he lived in the country promised him, lived as a camper, as a stranger camping in tents.
mhm,
That's that go walk through the length and the breadth of it. That's that act of faith. Go out and see it. You may not get to see what's going to happen later on. You can't quite get your handle on it, but I'm telling you, everything you see, it's yours and your descendants. You know what I mean? And go out and look at it, because that's when you're believing it. You're seeing everything that God's promising. And it seems, you have to think about the fact that as Abraham's traveling around camping, he's thinking, how could this be? I don't own any of this. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm just a stranger camping along the way.
And I have no children. I thought we were going to get to his reaction to it.
It takes a little while for that frustration to build up in Abram.
But I mean, for God to be promising descendants uncountable, like the dust, I'm just like,
I don't have any kids at all.
What? You just expect a little inquiry there. I thought maybe there'd be something, but
yeah, we get all the way.
I think it's only when God tells him that Sarah is expecting that
it's a ways. We got to go through Ishmael yet. There's a lot going on in this story before. Okay. There's a lot that that God takes Abram through, and makes him wait 25 years for a promise that you think it, to the point where at that point the promise doesn't even seem possible to be fulfilled. Like God gets to the point where it seems like he's failed before he comes through supernaturally and says, just when you think it's impossible, that's when I'm going to step in. It's like you've exhausted everything else. You've gotten to the end, and you've thought, well, I must have misunderstood. God's like, nah, I'm just getting started. So he wants to empty or crush all our boxes that we have for him.
True.
And when he gets us to the point we're just ready to throw up our arms and say, I mean, I believe you and I know you. I don't know how any of this could ever work. And then he's like, okay, I think you're ready for me to take over now.
It's like you have to respectfully...
Jesus, take the wheel.
Yes. You have to respectfully dare him to show you. I dare you to show me how this plan's going to work.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
That's what God wants us to, I think. It says, test me. See if I don't open the windows of heaven, you know?
But 25 years, I mean, that's half our lives. That's like a whole life of, some of our kids. It's wild. It's a long time.
It's a very long time. So anyway, what do you think, Carrie? I think we did pretty good. Look at us go.
I mean, he's on his way. Building altars. He's still moving in faith, and
severing some ties, losing some people along the way, and can't
wait to see what he does next week.
Next week's fun. Next week is some action-packed stuff that you're after. There's some wars and stuff.
Oh my goodness.
Abraham has to go rescue Lot. There's a bunch of fun stuff.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Fabulous.
So come back next week, guys.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for joining us today. Tell your friends. Send clips to them. You can find clips on the socials, Todd's World 2023, TikTok, X, YouTube, of course, where the full episode is, the video episode. We're on wherever you get podcasts, Apple, Spotify, any of those. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Check out the Wildly Opinionated News Hour. Check out toddsworld.net. That's where my books are. Some fabulous books.
Books are good.
And that's where the peak authenticity gear is going to be. What do you think, Carrie? You think that works? Peak authenticity? We'll play around with it. Peak authenticity.
I mean, I love it. I love it. I'm laughing at it, but it's great because it is.
Yeah.
We're just doing our thing.
Well, you could even, I don't want to say it on air. Somebody will steal my ideas.
Okay.
You got to be careful.
Tell your friends about the show, but not about this conversation.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Next week, chapter 14. We'll have another news next week, too. But check out the news from last week. 2 hours of just peak hilarity. Imagine all the peaks we could go.
That's funny.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
See ya.